Why do I play DayZ? I've asked myself that question more times than I can count. Because sometimes I genuinely don't know. You spawn on the coast, cold, hungry, thirsty. You have nothing. No weapon, no food, no idea where you are. And somehow, after all these years, I still look at that character and think, alright, let's do this again. You start walking, and walking, and walking, and for a while, that's the game. There's no quest marker telling you where to go, no music telling you that something important is about to happen, no NPC waiting around the corner with some grand story to tell you, just you, and the sound of your footsteps, maybe the wind, maybe the rain, a distant gunshot that you aren't even sure you actually heard. You walk through a town and there's no one there. You check a house, nothing. Another house, nothing. A hospital. A couple of bandages. Maybe some disinfectant. You walk into a grocery store and there's nothing worth taking. So you leave. And you keep walking. And that's one of the strangest things about DayZ. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. You can spend an entire evening just wandering through the world that feels like it forgot you existed. And honestly, it can be miserable. You get sick, you get wet, you get cold, you starve. You get shot from a hill you never even seen. You spend an hour finding food, only to lose everything in about 3 seconds. You finally find a gun. You finally find ammunition. You finally get geared. And then, crack. You're dead. No explanation. No second chance. Back to the coast. Again. And you just sit there, staring at your screen thinking, why am I doing this to myself? DayZ can feel incredibly lonely. Not just because you're alone, but because the world itself feels lonely. The towns are abandoned. The roads stretch endlessly through forests. There are empty apartments with beds nobody sleeps in anymore. Schools with classrooms that hadn't had a student in it for years. Gas stations with nobody working behind the counter. Churches, hospitals, military bases, homes. All of these places where life once happened. Now just sitting there, quietly. Waiting. And there's something almost liminal about it. You can stand in the middle of town at sunset and look around. And for a moment, it doesn't even feel like a video game. It feels like you're standing somewhere you shouldn't be. Somewhere that was made for thousands of people. But you're the only one there. And maybe that's what bothers me most. DayZ doesn't constantly entertain you. It makes you sit in that feeling. Silence, the uncertainty, the loneliness, the boredom, the fear. And sometimes, I hate it. I hate how long it takes to get anywhere. I hate finding nothing. I hate losing everything. I hate spending an hour preparing for something that never happens. I hate running through a forest and wondering if I'm wasting my time. I hate being alive for 2 hours, only to die to someone I never even seen. And yet, I keep coming back. So why? Why do I play DayZ? Maybe the answer is hidden somewhere inside all the things I hate about it. Because eventually, you start to realize something. The emptiness isn't really empty. Because every once in a while, something happens. And it's usually something incredibly small. You find a can of food when you're starving. You find a warm jacket when you're freezing. You stumble across a well after running around for 20 minutes looking for water. You find a weapon. You find a battery. You find a box of matches. And somehow, that tiny feeling feels important. In most games, finding a can of beans wouldn't even register. In DayZ, that can of beans might be the reason you survive the next hour. And I think that's where the magic starts, because DayZ has this strange ability to make ordinary things feel meaningful. A house isn't just a building, it's shelter. A fireplace isn't decoration, it's warmth. A water bottle isn't loot, it's life. A pair of gloves can mean the difference between being comfortable and freezing to death. And suddenly, the mundane becomes important. The problem with DayZ is also its greatest strength. The game doesn't give you much, and because it doesn't give you much, you start creating your own reasons to care. The quiet that used to annoy me becomes something that I look forward to. I'll run through a forest for 20 minutes with nothing but my thoughts, and instead of asking, when is something going to happen? I start thinking, I wonder what's over that hill. The emptiness becomes peaceful. The silence becomes familiar. The roads that used to feel like pointless stretches of nothing start to feel like home. You recognize certain towns, certain barns, certain hills. You know where the road leads. You remember where you died. You remember where you found your first good rifle. You remember that one little house where you spent the night hiding from a storm. And without realizing it, you've built memories in a place that doesn't even exist. That's another thing DayZ does differently. It doesn't give you a story. It gives you a place and lets you make one. Maybe you're just trying to survive. Maybe you're just traveling north. Maybe you're looking for a friend. Maybe you're hunting. Maybe you're trying to find a better weapon. Maybe you're just wandering around with absolutely no idea what you're doing. And somehow, all of those things become your story. But then, there's the people. And this is where DayZ changes completely. Because after you've been alone long enough, meeting another person feels different. You hear footsteps. You stop. Your heart starts beating faster. You don't know if they're friendly. You don't know if they're going to kill you. You don't even know if they know you're there. And suddenly, all that emptiness means something. Because you spent the last hour or days alone. And now there's another human being just standing right in front of you. Maybe they wave. Maybe you lower your gun. Maybe they say hello. Maybe they give you some food. Maybe you travel together for 20 minutes. Maybe you never learn their name. And then suddenly something happens. They get shot. Or they disconnect. Or you get separated. Or one of you makes a mistake and suddenly you're alone again. But that little interaction stays with you. Because DayZ makes human connection feel rare. And when something is rare, you value it more. That's why I think the loneliness is necessary. If DayZ constantly threw people at you, meeting someone wouldn't mean anything. But when you spent the last hour or the last day hearing nothing but your own footsteps, the voice in the distance feels like discovering another person on a deserted planet. And that's what DayZ does. It makes connection valuable by making isolation unavoidable. And maybe that's why the game feels so real sometimes. Not because the zombies are realistic, because they're not. Not because the guns are realistic, but because of the way it makes you feel. You don't know what's around the corner. You don't know who you can trust. You don't know if you'll make it home. And every decision, no matter how small, feels like it matters. The game doesn't force you to care. It makes you earn the reasons to care. And somewhere along the way, the thing I hated most about DayZ became the thing I loved most. So, why do I play DayZ? I think I finally have an answer. I play because it's quiet. I play because it's slow. I play because sometimes nothing happens. I play because I can spend an entire night walking through the rain and somehow still enjoy every second of it. I play because the world doesn't revolve around me. There isn't always something waiting for me. Sometimes I'm just another survivor, walking down another empty road, trying to make it to the next town. And there's something beautiful about that. DayZ reminds me that not every moment needs to be exciting. Sometimes it's okay to just walk, to look at the trees, to watch the sun come up over the horizon, to sit beside a fire while the rain hits the roof, to hear distant gunshots and wonder who fired them, to find a little house in the middle of nowhere and decide that for tonight, this is my home. And then tomorrow, you leave. That's the beauty of it. Everything is temporary. Your gear, your weapons, your base, your character, your life. Eventually, you're going to lose it all. And somehow, that makes what you have right now mean more. Because you know it won't last. That rifle you're carrying, you're going to lose it. Those supplies you spent hours collecting, gone eventually. That character you've kept alive for days, one bad decision and they're gone too. But maybe that's the point. DayZ isn't about keeping everything. It's about what happens while you have it. It's about the journey, the people you meet, places you discover, the stupid decisions you make, the close calls, the betrayals, the memories, the ridiculous moments that you couldn't recreate if you tried. It's about sitting in the barn with a complete stranger, both of you starving, and deciding that neither of you is going to kill the other. It's about giving someone your last can of food. It's about hearing someone yell for help. It's about trusting someone when every part of you is telling you not to. And sometimes, you get betrayed. Sometimes, you make the wrong choice. Sometimes you die. But sometimes, you don't. Sometimes that stranger becomes your friend. Sometimes you travel together for hours. Sometimes you find yourself laughing at something completely stupid, and suddenly, you're not alone anymore. That's the little light DayZ gives you. It's not bright. It's constant. It doesn't happen every 5 minutes, but that's exactly why it matters. Because when the world is mostly darkness, even a little light feels enormous. And I think that's why I keep coming back. Not because DayZ is perfect. It's far from perfect. The clunky mechanics, bugs, the long walks, empty buildings, the starvation, the endless searching, the brutal deaths. All of those things can make me want to uninstall the game. But they're also the reason I remember it. Because DayZ doesn't hand you moments. You have to find them. You have to survive long enough for them to happen. And when they finally do, they feel like they're yours. That's why I proudly say I play DayZ. I play it for the loneliness, for the silence, for the emptiness, the uncertainty, for those long stretches of nothing that make the moments feel so much bigger. I play because sometimes the best part of the game is simply being alive, walking through a quiet forest, watching the sun go down, knowing that somewhere out there, there's another survivor. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're hungry. Maybe they're looking for someone too. And maybe, just maybe, our paths will cross. And when they do, for a few moments, this enormous, empty world doesn't feel so empty anymore. So yeah, sometimes I hate DayZ. I hate the grind. I hate dying. I hate losing everything. I hate the loneliness. But I've come to realize that's exactly why I love it. Because DayZ takes everything away from you, and then teaches you to appreciate the small things. A warm fire, a full stomach, a quiet house, the sunrise, a friendly voice, a stranger who decides not to pull the trigger. Those moments might seem insignificant anywhere else, but in DayZ, they mean everything. And maybe that's why, after all these years, when I spawn onto that coast with nothing, I still look towards the horizon and start walking. Because I know somewhere out there, in all that emptiness, there's another story waiting to happen, and that's why I play DayZ. Not because I love surviving the apocalypse, but because somehow, in a world that's almost completely empty, it reminds me just how meaningful it is to be human.